Hello and welcome to the Royals Review Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Worth, and I'm joined as ever by my good friend, Jimmy. It's been a little while since we've done one of these. Life's sort of been getting in the way a bit. All exciting stuff, which I'm sure you'll have seen across both of our socials. But nothing more exciting than Reading's form at the moment. I think it's 11 unbeaten now on the road. I think there's only one team in England's top four leagues that are on a better run. I can't remember who that is, and I imagine it's very obvious. But we're here to talk about the Peterborough win, 3-1. Excellent result, excellent performance. Jim, what did you make of the 3-1 victory?
Yeah, I thought Reading were great from the get-go, really. Solid in possession. Everyone was playing well. Went 1-0 up through an unreal goal. Something straight out of the new camp. Playing like Barcelona, it was crazy. And I don't know, there were so many passes being strung together. I feel like everyone was just like, surely this has to go in. This has to go in. And it did go in the end. I'm not actually sure if it was an own goal or if it did come off Campbell. Maybe you can confirm. But yeah, 1-0 up, a little bit shaky after the goal. I saw the half out, started the second in similar fashion, needed that 2-goal buffer. Got the 2-goal buffer. Subs came on and improved the side, which is something that I've actually noticed under Hunt. I don't know what it was with Sellers, but I just felt a lot of the time the subs that came on didn't really impact the game. Whereas now, you're bringing on, maybe it's just because we've got a little bit more depth and, players that have been introduced to the squad have got a bit more experience. But the subs came on, improved the side straight away, went 3-0 up through some great work from Wareham and Savage. Unfortunately conceded, as I thought the defence had been pretty solid. But saw the game out and picked up 3 points against an informed side, fresh out the international break. It's exactly what you want to see, really, if you're pushing for the playoffs. So all in all, top performance.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it can't be underestimated how important confidence is at this point. And there are a few parts to us being a confident side at the moment. And obviously the unbeaten run is the key one. It's like there for all to see. But this is the first time Reading have scored more than 2 goals in a game since New Year's Day, which, I mean, scoring 2 is obviously great, but we don't often score more than that. So to get 3 against tough opposition, as you say, I think does fill the boys with a lot more confidence because, I don't know, without having the stats to back it up, it doesn't feel like we've been like prolific in front of goal this season. We've kind of got the results we needed by, wins by 1 goal or a few score draws here and there. But really nice to see 3 goals scored and 3 different scorers. The first goal was given as an own goal in the end, but I mean, that's quite harsh on Campbell. I mean, there's nothing you can do if their defender does get the last touch, but I mean, he's in the right place. He's going to score it if the defender's not in the way. So 3 players hopefully boosted confidence. Obviously, Lewis Wing is playing with confidence again after what some people would say a poor run of form. It definitely wasn't poor, but it just probably wasn't quite at the incredible standards that we're sort of used to with Lewis Wing. But he was instrumental in that Barcelona goal as well at the first. Not that we're the prophecies here, although there's a lot of things that we've said on this podcast which have been very, very true. None more so than that first goal. When Reading play quick passes, they're so good. Like it's the best we have, like the best weapon in our arsenal. Like playing down the wings doesn't necessarily work all the time, but when we're playing quick, fast-flowing football, you've seen it from the first day against Birmingham all the way until now. We look awesome. So
definitely agree. Yeah.
We obviously have a couple of games coming up now against 2 other informed teams where that fast-flowing football will come in super handy. And I think if we can keep that up and do more of that against those 2, I think we can be pretty confident of getting some points on the board. Anyway, back to the Borough game before we look ahead and talk about those 2 games. I was slightly surprised with the defence, as in the starting back 4. Off the top of my head, and again, I haven't written this down, I'm not sure if anyone was playing in their natural position in that back 4. And obviously, Binder missed out through illness, which saw Stickland come in. As I say, I was actually slightly worried when I first saw the starting 11 come out, but everybody performed well, and no reasons to be worried really, especially coming up against the likes of Poku, etc., who have been right up there towards the top performing players forwards in the league this season, I think we stood up to basically every single test. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think when I saw the lineups come out, I was trying to work out who's actually playing where. And obviously, when you see a back four that doesn't include Mbenge or doesn't include Bindon, let alone not including both of them, you start to think, shit, hang on a sec, we might be in trouble here. But yeah, like I mentioned, I thought the defence were fantastic. I think the standout has got to be Strickland. He put in some fantastic tackles. Obviously, pinged the ball up to Wareham, who then squared it. And yeah, I thought they were great. Abrafa as well. He was really decent as a fullback, and so was Rashisha. I think they both just improved massively this season. And if they're playing like that, out of position, then yeah, you can see what they're gonna end up being like in their preferred positions as well. Can't forget Yeardom as well. He was solid. I actually thought he. Wait, no, he didn't score. He didn't almost score. It was Kamara, wasn't it? But it was a fantastic jump from Kamara anyway, which led me to think it could have been Yeardom. Yeah, they were all solid. They were all great. Shame that they conceded, but as a backup, makeshift back four, I thought they're fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, having Joel Pereira behind you, as we've said all season, is exactly what you need in terms of commanding a goalkeeper that can instill confidence into a young back four. But they must be absolutely buzzing with that. I know Peterborough did have a few chances. I can't remember who it was, but missed an absolutely unreal sitter. And then potentially should have had a penalty when Charlie Savage went through their striker through on goal. But still, I think they can be very, very happy with their performance. And look, we got 8 games left, maybe 3 on top of that if we can do well from there. The season's not over, so injuries and illnesses are still likely to happen, and we're probably going to need to call upon the likes of Stickland and anyone else. So it's never a bad thing that your sort of fringe players are coming in and performing to a high standard. It's almost exactly what you want, particularly when we've got a thin squad and we're going to rely heavily on players like that to come in and not reduce the quality of the team. So that's great. The last person I wanted to talk about is Charlie Savage. It was his highest rated performance of the season in League One, according to WhoScored.com, with an 8 rating out of 10. He had 3 shots, 3 key passes, and obviously converted the goal from Wareham's cutback. I think Charlie Savage is going from strength to strength, to be honest. I really, really like him. We've said all season, we always say we love players that play with their heart on the sleeve and play with lots of passion, and he absolutely does do that. But he's really delivering with getting in amongst the goals, getting assists, just being in the right place at the right time. And I just think he's really, really coming on as a player. And I'm really excited for his future. Obviously, we've got him. I think we've still got him for another 2 years on the contract. I imagine there will definitely be people looking at coming in for him in the summer. But at least in that case, we can get a fee for him. But maybe if we do manage to sneak in through the playoffs, he might stick around for a season in the Championship. Any words on Charlie Savage, Jim?
Yeah, he's great. I think under Hunt, especially, you can really see an improvement. He's just non-stop, all over the pitch, popping up with assists, goals, defending. Yeah, I think he sort of suits that midfield perfectly. In fact, you know what? I think our midfield is just so perfectly balanced at the moment with those 3 players. If you get Savage, Wing, and Nibs all at their best at the same time on a match day, it's game over.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And even with Ben Elliott on the way back, those 4 to pick from in a midfield 3 is very, very tasty, particularly at League One level. Obviously, I think it's quite interesting because obviously Peterborough are one of the better teams in this league, I would argue. Anyway, I know they're their league position doesn't exactly explain that. But I think Reading are great at playing against teams that come on against them and look to attack because, as you said, Wing Savage and Nibs can just completely rip apart those teams. It's when we come up against teams like Stockport or even Charlton to an extent, and there's loads of others really in there that I could pick out where they try and sit back a bit and just contain, and will largely contain Lewis Wing, to be honest, is when we struggle. I think they're the examples where we need Ben Elliott to come in there because he brings us slightly more, I don't even really know, like flair, I guess I want to say. Like he takes
I think
creates space for the others.
Yeah, I agree. And I think was it against Stockport where they just basically sat on Wing and just completely counted him out the game, and we were watching it like shit, man. Like we're not getting anything here. I think since then all of the players are playing with a lot more like freedom. They're sort of free. I think Savage was even saying this in an interview about the differences under Hunt and Sellers, and the fact that he's like he knows that he's going to probably be playing the next game, so he's playing with a lot more freedom and he's trying stuff that previously might be too much of a risk to sort of play, I guess. But I think just all the players in general are playing with so much more freedom, and from that, they're offering more. There's more. We're creating more chances. We're, it's not all just going through Lewis Wing. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a few things that sort of play into it, but just going back to your point on confidence as well, I think the whole team are confident at the moment. If you've got that, like we just mentioned, if you've got a back four coming in and they can put in a performance like that, and they're not even your starting back four, then the confidence going through the team just must be, out the roof.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, we've got 2 games coming up now. We've got Blackpool away from home tomorrow night, which is Tuesday for people that might not be watching when we record this, and then Wycombe at home on Saturday. 2 teams that are in a pretty strong vein of form at the moment, much like ourselves, obviously, and we're going to need to go into both of those games with confidence and play well. I guess the question I want to ask you is, how many points do you think we'll pick up from those 2 games?
I think we'll pick up 4. Yeah. I just don't really see a reason to lose any of these matches with the way that we're playing, and as we just mentioned, the confidence going through the team at the moment, and the fact that they're fully aware that these next 8 games are all cup finals, as they say. But yeah, as you said, these are teams that are in form. These are teams that have got something to fight for still, so they're not going to be easy. I think we got battered by Blackpool just before. I think it might have been one of Hunt's first games in charge. So yeah, I mean, whether that was just down to the fact that it was one of his first games in charge, or there was so much uncertainty with Sellers leaving and the January transfer window fast approaching, or whether Blackpool actually set up and like deservedly smashed us. So it will be, I'm looking forward to seeing how they fare tomorrow. And then Wycombe, I think we'll beat Wycombe. I think we'll beat Wycombe. I just think we're playing better. It's at the Majewski or the SCL, should I say? And yeah, I think we played well against them at their place, and I think we're just in a better spot as a team right now, in terms of how we're playing. So I don't see how we can't sort of turn that into the win. Plus, with the old filthy SCL theme campaign, whatever it is running, hopefully there'll be a massive crowd behind them as well, so sort of push them over the line.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I completely agree, and I suppose we should do our bit to convince anyone who is sitting on the fence to get yourself down to the SCL on Saturday. You're going to be watching one of the most exciting young teams in English football at the moment in Reading. I mean, Wycombe are relatively exciting too, and they've got some good talent. But I'm here to promote the Reading side of things. It's a huge opportunity for us to land another big victory. We've been scoring loads of goals at home. We've got an incredible record. We're unbeaten in 11. There's never really been a better time this season to get yourself down to the SCL. The weather looks brilliant. It's going to be a lovely day out in the sun. And we saw this Saturday, the atmosphere is improving again. And I know that's to be expected when the football's a little bit better, but you'll get a nice day out. Saturday, early kickoff in the sun. It's going to be great vibes. Hopefully, if we get a bumper crowd there, we can back the boys to another victory, which will be absolutely massive on our hunt for the playoffs. So, yeah, if you're sat on the fence, get yourself down there. If you've been to see Reading before and you've not been in ages, but you managed to see us in the Premier League or been to Wembley with us, now is the time to repay all of those good times that you've had. Get down this weekend. And you know what? You might even bump into me and Jim. So that's a huge, huge positive for you to get down there. Right then, I spoke about the P word there, the playoffs. Do you reckon we can do it? As in, do you reckon we can get there? Not necessarily with at this point.
Yeah, I've said it all season. I think we're good enough to get there. And with everything that's gone on off pitch as well, and all the uncertainty, which I knew was going to happen, but maybe not to the heights and the extent. I think to be in the playoffs at this part of the season is fantastic. So yeah, I think they'll be disappointed if they don't get into the playoffs. I feel like they know we're the underdog and they know that we've got everything against us. So I don't know, maybe that's like spurring them on even more. But yeah, it will be close. I do think we'll nick a playoff spot though.
Yeah, I think it's definitely doable from here, and I think it's quite enviable to be in that underdog position at this point of the season. Like, I'm pretty sure we've mentioned this before, or I've mentioned this before. Like, it's usually the team that ends the season the strongest. Like, you can be in the top six all season long, like Huddersfield, for example. If your form's not good enough in the back end of March and April, then you fall out and you're not in there. Whereas Reading have sort of skimmed along, gone under the radar lots. Obviously, all of the off the pitch stuff has just tainted everything. And that's been reflected in the betting market. We were 500 to 1 to get promoted at one point this season. We're now 28 to 1 to get promoted. So that just shows how much we're sort of overperforming. And as you say, like, I think of all of the teams above us currently, which is obviously 5 teams, only Stockport have beaten us, and they've only beaten us once. Everyone else is yet to beat us. I hope I've got that right, but it's definitely something like that. Which just goes to show, like, we absolutely deserve to be where we are. And we do have the 11s of the 11. We do have an 11 that is strong enough to get there. I'm not sure if winning the playoffs might be one step too far, but at this point, I can see us qualifying, and I really hope we do. I think these players deserve some sort of recognition for it, because if they do qualify for the playoffs, it is an absolute miracle. Like, there's no two ways about it. They've played out of their skin, and it's absolutely fairy tale stuff. So yeah, I think more for the players, I hope we do get there, because they deserve it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the fans will be quite happy too, and no one deserves it more than the Reading fans at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I do think, just to correct you, unfortunately, we got battered both times by Stockport. So if we do get into the playoffs, they are the only team though that have beaten us.
Yeah, fine.
Right,
we'll avoid them.
Hopefully, we'll avoid them if we do get into the playoffs. Knowing our luck, though, we won't, and we'll get them. But you know what? It's like we said, it's a different point of the season now. Yeah, I just feel like there's so much confidence in the team, especially after beating Wrexham, drawing with Birmingham. There's nothing to suggest that we can't go out and get a result against anyone in this league now. So yeah, fingers crossed we make it, and then see how we go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we got 2 questions then to finish up on that have been sent in from some of our friends on X. The first question is, if you could go and get any Reading player through the ages to come in now, they're fit and ready to play right now, even if they were from like the 2000s or whatever, who would you pick to come in and get Reading in those playoff positions and then maybe win the playoffs?
Oh, that is a mad question. Well, I think it would have to be. Well, I just think we need improvement on the wings. So maybe Gareth McCleary. If he pops up with a goal in the playoff final like that one he scored against Burnley, I don't think anyone will be forgetting that for centuries. But to be fair, even even Femi was he was pretty decent last season. If we managed to keep hold of him, there's nothing to suggest that he wouldn't have replicated what he was doing when we did have him. Obviously, I'm not saying that is the ideal candidate from all Reading players that we've had, but it's a player that I think would have been useful throughout the season. I'll go with McCleary though, for old time's sake.
Yeah, I guess we just got to hope he doesn't score in the playoffs for Wycombe, especially if we're coming up against him. But yeah, no, it's hard to disagree with that. Obviously, he's got the goal at Wembley already for us, so that would be nice to see that replicated.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go for a striker, which might be a little bit harsh on Jaden Wareham, but I think of the strikers that have helped us get through hard times and get us promoted, I'm looking at the likes of Jason Roberts, Adam Lafondra, and maybe even Jan Kermigan. I know he couldn't get us over the line in the playoff final last time out, but proven scorers that if we get a penalty, Lafondra and Kermigan are going to score. I just like the clutch moment of Kermigan versus Fulham. You had no doubt he was going to score there. And I would just love to have a player like that in this team that's full of experience in what is currently a really young squad. And I just know he will have that clutch moment. Not to say Harvey Nibbs won't. I mean, he's been banging the penalties in for fun, hasn't he? And he's probably been our most clutch player now. So I'm not saying we're missing that clutchness, but someone like Jan Kermigan, what a player. We've covered off how much we love him on this podcast already this season. So I'm going there.
Yeah, it's a good shout. It's a good shout. I think I just feel a bit deep on Wareham. He's been improving so much this season.
Yeah.
To then take him out for the playoff final is a bit harsh.
Yeah, I agree. Right, last one then is a very hypothetical question, not like the last one wasn't, but another hypothetical question. If you could sign players in two positions right now, again, to get us through the playoffs, which two positions would you look to strengthen if you were Noel Hunt?
The right wing position, because I just think Campbell has dropped off slightly and he's not really shown too much recently. So I think definitely the right wing position. And then striker, whether it's a starting striker or a backup striker, I think Wareham's definitely good enough. But if Wareham gets injured, it's not looking good in that department. So I think a striker and a right winger. What about you?
I think probably a left back, to be honest, or just a full back, someone that can play on either side, just for a bit more reinforcement there. I think, as we discussed already in this podcast, we're okay in midfield for now. I probably would go with a right winger too. I'd just love for us to get a really tricky right winger that's playing with loads of confidence. And I'm not saying that Campbell isn't doing that, but I don't get the vibe that he's overly tricky and quick and can cause defenders loads of issues. Hopefully he watches this and proves us wrong over the next couple of weeks. But I think someone with a little bit more flair and pace could be really, really deadly in League One and get us through. So yeah, I'd probably go for a fullback and a right winger if I had that opportunity. But obviously we don't have that opportunity. So we're going to have to make do with what we've got, and they have been doing a fantastic job. So hopefully they can continue that and get us over the line and into the playoffs. And in a few weeks' time, hopefully we'll see you all at Wembley. That would be lovely. But for now, thanks very much for joining us. Hopefully the two of us will see you at the Wycombe game on Saturday. Hopefully we can get a win against Blackpool, and hopefully we can get 6 points this week and continue our playoff push. Thanks very much for joining me, Jim, and thanks to you guys at home for watching. We'll see you next time. Come on, you all.